Kelsey, your audio's off.
Just kidding. Let's start again. Crikey. I didn't order this. Hey, I didn't order this.
Hi! Oh,
Hey.
I have been waiting for your call. Did you get all my paperwork? Like, I triple checked the orders, and I even collided the double signature pages. And I know you told me not to over the phone, but I just thought, just in case, let's make this easy for everyone. We're ready to sell some tacos.
Yes, we are, Kim. Hi. I did get all your paperwork. Everything's in order, so that's great. And again, your enthusiasm for the business is exactly what we look for all of our potential clients, as far as like dedication and actualization go for the loan. So great job. I'm calling today to just follow up on there's just a red flag on your file.
Red flag, like bad red flag, or like give her the yes red flag? Sorry, you mean bad red flag? Okay. I'm just gonna breathe. I'm just totally just gonna breathe.
Hey, Kim, it's okay. It's fine. It's totally normal. It's just we have to always check the red flags that we have that come up on people's credit reports.
Okay.
Except for it's not really that normal. So I just see here that there was a Federal Trade Commission investigation into a Kickstarter that you did for the world's best taco seasoning, and that you received over $320,000 to find the world's best taco seasoning. So we're just curious what that what happened to that money?
Well, it's very interesting that you bring that up, because does this really affect me getting the approval for the loan?
Yeah, it does, because it's an investigation with the Federal Trade Commission. So if you or I make the wrong decision, we could both go to jail for a very long time. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Kim.
Oh, I am so sorry. I thought your screen froze.
No, it didn't. I just need to know what happened with the money.
I can't tell you.
I'm sorry, what?
I legit can't tell you, but I can taste it to you. I can't tell you, but I can taste it to you. You should have just received a delivery box on your desk. It is the most top secret of my recipes, and let me just tell you, prepare to have your mind blown.
So this is from you? Okay. That's actually really, really thoughtful, Kim. Good job. I always like to taste what I'm about to approve, if I do approve it, though. This isn't in exchange for an approval. It's just a sampling of said product. Okay? So, all right. Oh.
See what I mean?
Oh.
I have spent years researching the ingredients, getting them just right. 1 or 4 of the ingredients list is rather hard to get, but with the help of my friend, I was able to get some purchaser rights and wholesale licenses from Macau to get me the ingredients. So money well spent.
Oh my God, this is like This is like heaven in a taco shell. I mean, seriously, like, fuck my face, this is really good. I'm sorry, what did you say about the licensing and purchaser agreement? Is the ingredient something that you can get consistently? I mean, is that a consistency problem?
Oh, yeah, the creme is from a Chinese wet market. I think it's a very close relative of the dog. But yeah, very easy once the FTC case is finished.
I'm sorry, did you say dog?
No, the creme is very flavorful meat, and it's used in countless countries all over the world. And I think with time will become the next big thing. Trust me. This taco seasoning is the best because it's not the seasoning. It's already the meat. Joanne, are you okay? You know, the FTC says that I needed to relabel it, so I'm thinking something like the improbable meat taco. You know, like a play off of the
Impossible Burger?
Yeah. And until you found out, wasn't it the best taco you've ever had? I've done what I set out to do. Find the best taco. I've done it. Is it conventional? No. But is anything worth doing ever conventional? I mean, who are we to say what is or isn't kosher? And like in 15 years, we're all going to be eating bugs because of the amount of environmental decay that's going on. You are at the forefront of the future. Go ahead. Take another bite and tell me that isn't the future of tacos.
That's really good. You're approved. But only as the FTC allows the name change, okay? You got me?
Yes. Oh, I knew you loved it. Oh, also, by the way, the other $300,000 I lost in a backroom poker game in Minot, North Dakota. Thank you. Bye.
Wait, Kim, no, Kim. Oh, fuck.
Ta-da.
Oh my. Oh my. So you're my sound went out a little bit, but it's dog meat? Whereas
Yeah.
there you are.
It's a close relative of the dog.
Gotcha. Well, that was very. I meant to ask you what writing prompt you chose, but obviously we got that. That was very entertaining, and even with the baby crying in the middle, right?
I was like, give me a half hour. Did not give me a half hour. What are you gonna
Tell me how you guys worked on this.
Okay. So basically, Kelsey and I talked, and we're just figuring out like which one works best, and we ultimately ended up with choosing the lone one that was very devastated. I don't know why. I just was vibing with that one. So then we came up with like, oh, maybe like a Kickstarter, like taco stuff. So I kind of like just jotted down some thoughts or like maybe like a type of like skeletal outline. And then I leave the Google Doc and I come back and Kelsey wrote this beautiful masterpiece.
Because you know me, it's got to be a little weird and totally out there for me to write it. Because I asked Yvette, I was like, do you want to do a comedy or a drama? And she's like, I really want to do something fun. And I think, like everybody, this week has just been rough. And like, why not laugh? Why not make a joke, a couple jokes? Why not have some food? Christine can attest to the fact that I try to put food in everything I do because I want to
You
be
kind of,
eating when I'm
yes,
working on a scene.
I mean, the only thing that I mean, I had sound issues also, not with you guys, but I think just in general, the internet issue. But I'm not sure that I fully bought that all of a sudden it's approved. Like, so with there's such a tremendous she is filled with transgressions.
Yeah.
Yvette's character, she's just like a complete shyster. And so the fact that the meat is that good that you would just suddenly approve it seemed a little implausible to me. But you know what? We're dealing with kind of crazy light comedy, so I bought it. But I want to just open it up to the rest of you and see if you had comments or thoughts about it. Yes, Farrell.
I love this scene. I laughed several times and I was like, yes, we needed that release. I thought it was great because there was this lovely moment that you're the loan officer, right? So there was a seriousness about you. And like, I loved starting going, I didn't order this. It kind of set your tone for who you were. And then here we've got like this woman coming in who's just a really lovely blend of energies and storyline. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. And I did audibly go, oh, but you did make Kelsey, the food looks so good. I really want a taco.
It's Taco Bell.
Oh my God. Caitlin just came out and is coming back in. Yeah. Anybody else on this? Yes, Christine.
Yeah, I loved it too. I second everything that Farrell said. I think we needed that. And it's fun. I love the way you do, and I can attest that she does work. She miraculously works food into everything. She's a champ, and I admire that more than anything. But I just think it's so cool. I love the screwball kind of thing where it's like there's just one screw loose. And I know we've talked about that in the past where it's like it borders on that sort of absurdity, but you kind of go with it because, and I think you both walked that line really, really well. And I thought it was really fun to see Yvette too kind of be like, oh, and by the way, I did all these really, really ridiculous things. Bye. that was like stellar. I just loved it. It was great.
And Yvette, you have this kind of madcap comedic energy at times, which is really fun because it's very explosive and very inviting and appealing and impulsive. She's, the impulsiveness of her, I thought was really something that I would personally want to see more of. And I think that's something you're doing a lot in the work you're doing, assuming the material warrants that. But it's just sort of you impart a love of what you're doing when you do it, and that's kind of a big deal. It's like you're really enjoying what you're doing when you do it, and it's kind of an intangible, but it's a really appealing quality for anybody, I think. Yes, John.
I second everything that everybody said. To me, what takes this particular piece beyond a very successful piece of like sketch comedy or a sort of payoff type joke, which it's a 3-2-1. It's very hard to do, and I understand that. Is Yvette, if you started from a place that was a little more grounded and a little more, I hate to use the word subtle, but a little less, I feel you played your hand a bit early. And as a result, I was like, oh, I know this is going to be ridiculous. I was down for it. And you both hit the tone perfectly. It's better than anything SNL has done in the last 10 years. But the way to make it more surprising and the way to imbue it with more color, shade, nuance, I think, is to have it start from a place where we don't know where it's going to go. And as the sort of bedlam unfolds, your commitment to that intensity, and as that rises, allows Kelsey to do more, and therefore it harmoniously builds. Rather than, to me, the minute that intensity sort of went, I went, okay, I kind of get where we're, I get where we're going. That's not a commentary on the writing or the performance. That's just an alternate take on what could have been. That's all I'll say. But I really enjoyed it, and I did laugh.
Good note. Anybody else? Yeah. Is that Mike? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I thought you guys were awesome. Kelsey, you're like so believable as like this kind of like, you know, serious like loan manager. And Yvette, you have like an awesome comedic energy that just like, it just makes me like, I laughed a lot during that scene. It was awesome. You guys were just fantastic. Seriously.
Yay. I really wanted something where I was like, because I was telling Kelsey, I was like, I want to do this. I want to be fun. But I want it where like people will not expect this. I get it.
Nailed it.
I always say this, but this is an easy one to film. Asterisk, easy one to film. All I'm going to say.
Anybody else on this? Any other thoughts? John, your note about starting at a event starting at kind of a lower frequency is actually a really good note, because it wouldn't take anything. It not only wouldn't take anything away, I think would add to it, because as soon as we hear about the Kickstarter thing, we know there's a problem. Like $320,000 from the Kickstarter is a lot of freaking money. But we just, you know, I think but we get swept away. It's the fact that it's entirely implausible doesn't really matter. We get swept away in the comedic energy of it.
But I think the longer you can lean away from the implausibility,
exactly.
and you force the audience to sort of reconcile that versus crossing that divide yourself. But that is, again, that's subjective. But I think like the writing itself is hysterical. You guys did such a good job of sort of pitter-pattering and like raising the stakes. But if you start from a place where these two people are having the absolute most mundane, basic conversation, and it's us that has to do the work and go, oh, what the fuck are they talking about? It sort of allows you, I think, just a sharper build.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
I think
too.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was in the writing, because I think I'd tell her that we'd start talking about the Kickstarter within the first like 6 lines. So, and the guy really did raise an insane amount of money to taste tacos on Kickstarter. That's why we came up with the idea, because this guy had raised like close to $1 million to taste all the kinds of tacos that you could taste. And people gave him money for that. Anyway, side note.
Like Brian Davis, Larry Bird tomato.
What's that?
I said it's like Brian Davis finding that, and Emma finding that Larry Bird tomato, which was a real thing. It's just
yes,
hell of a time to be alive.
Oh my word. Any other notes on this? You thought very funny, very clever, great comedic energy. I really liked it. I take John's note. I think that is a good note. That's a really easy fix. That's just a different way to do it. Anybody else? So Caitlin and Farrell, do you think you are good now on sound and picture and all that?
I've been watching Caitlin and you keep freezing. I think she's frozen now.
She's frozen now.
Yeah, so maybe you won't be able to do this.
No.
Okay, she's moving again. You keep freezing.
When y'all read it or rehearsed it, was this the room you were in, Caitlin?
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Yeah, I have. This is the room I work in. I have all the Wi-Fi bars. I plugged my laptop, like you said.
Roommates playing a video game or something?
I don't think so.
You seem good now, though.
Am I good?
You seem good now, so why don't we launch into it?
Okay.
And what is the premise you guys are doing?
I don't remember what the things were, but it's a mother-daughter Zoom talk.
Okay, let's see if we can make it happen.
Oh, Camille, it's so good to see your beautiful face.
Hi, Mama. How you doing? How's Dad and the boys?
Well, you know your father, crazy busy, and the twins are, well, they are hating their homeschool teacher because she is so mean.
Oh, well, I'm sure they'll be glad for your help once they start applying for colleges. How are virtual tours going? So sad that they can't actually go to campus.
Yeah, well, they hate it. They pretty much hate everything. You know, except I think they really like the UCSB tour. Yeah, I think it was the surfing, ocean, you know. Oh, but I'm just really hoping they stay here and they go to Vanderbilt because I can't even imagine having all my children gone.
Well, that's what we do. We grow up and we get as far away from our parents as possible.
Yeah, well, I suppose you're right. I did the same thing. Oh, I miss you terribly. Okay, so have you decided when you're going to be coming home for the holidays? I think you're frozen, dear.
Actually, Mama, that's what I wanted to talk to you about because, Mama, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you were frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to tell you that I'm not coming home.
What do you mean?
I am not coming home this year because it's not safe. It's not safe for you or for me.
Now, of course, you're coming home. What do you mean not safe? Oh, don't be ridiculous. No, come on. You'll be coming home. You know what? You're going to be with family. You're always safe with your family.
That's not how it works, though. I mean, anyone can get sick at any time. And I don't know, I'm so afraid of getting on a plane with like 200 other people who keep taking their masks off every like 2 seconds to eat or drink. And I don't know, I feel really guilty if I brought something home.
Now, Camille,
One of y'all.
you're being pretty dramatic. Right? You're not going to bring anything because I know, you know, money's pretty tight right now.
No, Mom, it's not the money. I'm not being dramatic. I mean, do you really trust that airports and airlines are actually safe right now? They're probably more worried about not going bankrupt than they are actually protecting us. And I told you, I don't feel safe flying.
Now, you know that they are taking every precaution to keep people safe so that they can fly home and be with their family after this horrible year. Now, come on, we need you home.
Well, I want to be home, but regardless of how safe they think they're being, I just don't trust the people on the planes either. I mean, if this year has shown me anything, it's just how stupid people can be. And I've been so careful, so safe for 8 months now, and I'm not willing to risk my life or my family's life for a holiday.
Now, you do realize that this could be Poppy's last Thanksgiving, right? I mean, it was so hard on him. It was hard on all of us losing Granny last year. And he's just so lonely and he is so looking forward to seeing you. I mean, you haven't even been home since last Christmas. Oh, goodness. Sweetie, you keep phrasing. Yeah, you're frozen.
say that as if I wasn't planning to come home.
Actually, can we pause?
I think we should. Yeah, I hear you, Farrell.
Yes. Yes. So, Caitlin, can you hear us? All right. This is weird. What do you guys, you want to,
I think and I think the scene is I would file it under the DFT category, deeply fucking triggering. It's something I've experienced in my own life, and I would like to see it in its entirety. Maybe the move is to have them both. And Farrell, I see you. I'm in my kitchen now, so I will not turn my camera on. But maybe we move to the next one, and while we do that, they try to figure it out. I mean, Farrell's been sounding good and looking good to me, so hopefully Caitlin can figure it out. But I know I don't remember whose situation it was, but I knew you guys had to go soon. But I would like to see this scene in its unadulterated entirety, rather than kind of
yeah.
stumble through it. That said, commendable, Farrell. You kept making it work, and it was really beautiful work.
If I could offer any, I actually have to do most of my scenes on my iPhone because my computer always crashes on Zoom. So Caitlin, if you want to, maybe you guys could test downloading the Zoom app and then doing it from your phone.
She's not even on the thread. I think she's completely off right now.
Oops.
Kelsey.
I did text her
I'll
too.
text her.
Kelsey posited, I mean, maybe there's a way that y'all can record it and send it separate. Farrell, I can't even imagine what you're like. That was just such lovely work. All of us collectively, I'm sure I speak for everyone, we apologize for this is the perils of this medium.
We apologize on behalf of Zoom. The first time she froze, it was fantastic dramatically, to be honest. It was like, oh, because the miscommunication between mother and daughter, and then she really froze. All right, so unfortunately, I agree I was really liking this scene, and I will really like this scene when I can actually see it in its entirety. But let's table it for now, and we'll figure out a solution in the meantime. So the next one up is Michael Vargas and Cameron. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just getting an email. Okay, so Jorge is not going to be able to make it tonight, so just letting you know. All right. So you guys are set, you and Cam?
Yeah.
Great.
I think so.
And what writing prompt did you guys use?
The second one about the inheritance.
Ah, great. All righty. So I'm gonna mute, and you guys can start whenever you.
Oh, hey, Craig.
What's up, Zeke? Long time no speak.
Okay.
So, Zeke, I want to catch up, really.
Yeah,
But
sure.
there's also Dad. I think we really need to find some common ground on this whole estate business.
I agree. I agree.
I just want to be fully transparent. I've gotten another lawyer involved, and this conversation is being recorded.
Are you serious?
Zeke, this is to protect both of us.
And how is that? I'm trying to spend just a little more time giving myself permission to grieve. It's only been what, like 5, 6 months?
It's been 7 months, Zeke. And Dad's wishes are important. None of them can be carried out until we agree on what Dad meant and what he wrote. There's a lot of people waiting, man. You were always closer with him. We can't do it without you.
I know. It's just, it's not my fault that he wrote everything so poetically. I mean, he was a strange man, Siege, that I was with him right up until the end.
I know, man. And we couldn't be more grateful for everything you did.
It was really rough at the end. He wouldn't stop calling out for you those last few weeks. I mean, he just wanted to see us together again. Brother. He had these visions and these delusions. I get him down for dinner. He wanted us to start up our old punk act again.
He didn't. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't ever think I realized how much he actually enjoyed watching us. But there he was, yelling out after dinner. Zeke, where's Craigie? I'll let you boys play one more CGZD song and then you gotta start your homework, okay? Oh, man.
Wow. That's really touching. Again, I wish I could have been there, and I would have been. I wish we'd had more time.
I tried to tell you, man. There are moments in this life that you just don't get back. We sat overlooking his vegetable garden, his eggplants and his cauliflowers and his artichokes. I think the sun had just set and there were like 1 or 2 stars in the sky. And he said something I'll never forget for as long as I live. He looked over at me and he said, "We're the Great Bridge, Zeke." I asked him, like, "What do you mean, Dad?" And he says, "We're the Great Bridge of the universe, son. We occupy this thin little slice between the earth and the sky. We can turn the earth, or we can turn on each other. Why, Zeke? Why did you turn on your brother?"
Oh, man. I'll never let that go.
I tried to get through to him. I tried to tell him that he had it all wrong, but he thought you'd never come because I was there. I don't know what got into his head. I don't know why he thought we hate each other.
Well, I mean, there has been a gap. I guess you could say our worlds just kind of drifted apart over the years. I know you had struggles finding yourself, but
No. We're not all that different, Craig. I just never got Dad's good side. He had it in his mind that I was just never destined for the heights that you were going to get to, and there it is.
I know, but there was literally never any jealousy, right?
Not really. I mean, no, of course not. Of course not.
Well, good. Which brings me to how we're meant to proceed. Dad's language is so cryptic that I think whatever we decide, we can get signed off on.
You can't be serious. These requirements might be odd, but they're also very specific. Here. To Zeke, I leave the treasures in my closet. and more determined treasure to unfurl. It's
So what does that mean? You get his clothes? Because I don't want all his utensils just because he says, I leave to my Craig all the tools he may need. All of my tools. That's the forklift, and from the fork to the forklift to full ownership of the company's distribution channels. But Zeke gets to keep all.
listen, it's more important. This is gonna sound crazy, but
What sounds crazy about Zeke gets to keep all the profits? Listen, I'm sorry, but is any of this making any sense to you?
I don't know, Craig. I think he wants you to look after everything he built out in the world. He built that company from the ground up. He knew you'd continue that legacy. And I can, look after his garden, his island.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit, and you know it. Look at me. I poured everything I have into this company, and he treated me like a regular employee all of my life. And after all that, what do I get? A one-way funnel to you. Unremarkable you. You just keep doing nothing and getting more somethings the entire time. You tell me how that's fair.
Look, there are many things he showed me, Craig, that you would not understand. He trusts me. He wants me to look after his home. Keep his nature paths clear. Cultivate his daylilies.
You'll have no life, Zeke. Do you really just want to become an extension of him? Look, we have a chance to turn Welter Island into a destination or even a family retreat. I never thought you'd be such a selfish, self-preservationist that, come on, do you hear yourself? You sound like a character out of a Dickens novel.
Craig, there's one more thing.
What, Zeke? What is it?
There's a map, Craig. In the closet. He buried a treasure on the island.
My God, Zeke. I don't want to have to be the one to do this, but I won't have you living out Dad's harebrained fantasies. We'll make sure you get a portion of the company's profits, enough for you to live on, but the house and the island, we're cleaning that up and we're making it useful for something.
You can't do that. He wanted us to dig up the treasure together. He said he wanted us to heal our broken past.
What broken past? You're starting to sound like him now. I thought you said there was no jealousy.
But look, okay? We haven't been close for years, all right, Craig? There's no use pretending anymore.
Well, I have no interest in digging up Dad's old trinkets.
Dad traveled the world. Who knows what he might have buried there? There could be anything.
I'm sorry, Zeke. We can't live in Dad's fantasies forever. Someday you'll thank me for this.
This place is all he had. For so many years, this place
Zeke.
is all he had.
Zeke! It's what the rest of the family wants.
And the place will call. Amidst the squalls, the light bursts from port to peak. You'll see her there. Her rocky visage like an altar to the gods. Lay her there, lie her bare, and live at peace. One here in her beating heart, live at peace. Swelter's fleece.
It'll always be called Swelter's fleece, Zeke. Just now, maybe more people will be able to see her.
No! Never! I will never let you take his legacy away from me.
Well, we'll just have to hash it out with other more objective persons in the room.
Great. Let's have at it. See you soon. Siege.
Where are you guys? I was having trouble with that as well, technically. Was anybody else having trouble? I was having trouble with it, with the voice and the picture matching, but I don't know what's going on tonight. It's COVID, it's 2020, whatever. I really like that. Where are you guys? There's Mike, and then there's Cameron. There you guys. I really liked that. That's a very tall order to do, because you're basically bringing a history of a family into a short little scene. Couple notes I made. Well, first of all, if anyone's ever gone through something like this where families fight over estates, it's pretty bad. I mean, I remember my father and his brother going through it, and it really injured their relationship. And so it's the sort of thing that in my family we said, well, that's just not going to happen, and it didn't. But it's corrosive, and I think whenever somebody dies, speaking about this now from very recent experience, the family dynamic just completely splits apart. And I think you guys captured that really well. I wrote down, well, you have two completely different people with different family histories, different probably memories of what that was. And the phrase that really jumped out at me was unremarkable you. I love that. I thought it was really strong and very strong writing. Tell me how you kind of unlocked this. Tell me how you did it.
Cameron wrote it, so.
Cameron wrote it, okay.
Yeah.
We were both, I was like, the first two are kind of calling to me in terms of the ones that I gravitate toward. And usually I'll like write pieces of things, but because this time, like we both like really quickly agreed on the second one, I just pushed out a draft and I was like, hey, what are your thoughts? And do you want to change anything? And, we tweaked a couple things, and yeah. So
I mean, what's interesting about it also is that, at the very beginning, Mike, your character just says, yeah, there's a lawyer recording this call. So we know already the fuse has been lit, right? So that kind of informs everything. From a writing standpoint, it seems to me that might have a little bit more power, that incident of the lawyer, if it was delayed a little bit into the scene, because once we know that at the very beginning, we know that we know how acrimonious it's going to be and how much they're going to fight. And so I thought from a structure standpoint, that could be delayed, but I really liked it. I thought the writing was very sharp. And also, Mike, you occupy this frequency as an actor you have, and I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know. You have this very strong kind of dark intensity that when you can summon it is really powerful. And I thought it worked very well in this scene. But I do want to open it up and see notes from other folks. John.
I'm going to try to distill a lot of thoughts into the quickest I can ever speak, which those of you who know me know that is not my forte. I really liked the writing. You created a mythology, which is very hard to do. For the exercise, and I'm going to be a little asshole here, it was long, and tonally, I feel there were two scenes happening at once. Michael addressed the first scene, which was the acrimony, it was the sibling rivalry. If that's the point, if that's the acting exercise or the writing exercise, my prescription would be to focus on that. If it's about the treasure map, which is an entirely other element, fantastical, and I love it, but it isn't tonally, it's a shift that is really hard to make in the structure of what you're being asked to do in an acting class. We got to get to that much faster. That is not to denigrate the writing. The writing was great, but as an exercise, this is writing and acting. So that's my first comment. Second of all, I know both of you are tremendous and you both are really good sight readers. You got to do a little better job of setting the sight reading closer to your POV, because to me at least, and again, call me an asshole, it was very clear you were reading. It was very good reading, but still it brings the scene down, especially when you're navigating such high wire acting, such high wire writing. That said, weird casting, I loved it. 20 seconds in, I was like, I get it. I like it that you guys hit the right tone. You guys worked in lockstep. I think it's, from a writing standpoint, it's shaving it down and making it more specific. And from an acting standpoint, which I know the 3-2-1s I think are a little harder because of the collaboration. I think it's just tightening up 20 minutes of rehearsal extra, or a little less thought on the writing, which I hate to say, and a little more focus on the acting, so that there's a little more comfort, so that there's not those gaps of having to like the eye lines change. Otherwise, I appreciated it. Look, I loved it. It reminded me, and this is going to be a deep cut. Has anyone seen Romancing the Stone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas.
I was like, I want to see this. I want to get this treasure map going. So to like, was it successful? To me, it was very successful. But my notes are my notes, and I apologize. I will remain the tonight's asshole.
Kelsey.
I'm going to dovetail a little bit off of what John said. I think you could have edited it down and we still would have gotten the full story. There was so much beautiful language in there that I think you could have just cut a lot of it out. And if you would have gotten to the treasure map sooner, I still would have gotten that this was not an even fight. I still would have gotten the sibling rivalry within it, but it is about, or at least I got the sense that it's about the treasure. It's a treasure. It's one believing in the treasure map idea, one believing in the father's idea of life, and then the other brother believing in reality. And that's really where those two people come from. And if I think you can, it's too much. You overthought the writing a little bit. It was beautiful, but I think you just overthought it a little bit, which is totally fine. And it was beautiful and delightful. I think you could have cut it, and it actually would have filled it a little bit more. You would have had more space to live in it, in the things that you both know that you don't say, you know?
I'll briefly jump in and
Yeah.
say, and Kelsey, you're just so much more goddamn smart than I'll ever be, but a lot of what is written in that first act of that piece can live later on in the nuance of the treasure map. If the act 1 to act 2 is the treasure map, all that stuff that you tried to cram into act 2 can live further on, which all that stuff then can take on more life and more charge and all of that. I mean, I think it's a brilliant piece and a brilliant structure. And if either of you are, and I will continue to say this, the stuff that is generated on these nights should not just live and die on these nights. We've seen pieces produced, and we're going to come out of COVID, and there's going to be a need for content. We are smarter than everybody else. So like, you're doing stuff. So don't let this just be an exercise in acting. You guys are great. You created something original, but go back to the drawing board, find what works, find what doesn't. Kelsey's note is a perfect note, which is get to that thing quicker and then let all the nuance sort of live later on. If one of the fucking things that Michael sent out just said treasure map, think how rich that is, right? It's just finding where to deploy those resources within the story.
Anybody else? Yeah, Yvette.
I really enjoyed watching the both of you guys perform from the very beginning, right when Mike was like, oh, by the way, this is being recorded. It's like the stakes were high, but I was trying to figure out, okay, who's the villain in this setting? But it's like both of you guys were acting so well and genuinely, but also the lighting was coming into play that I started going, oh complex. I was like, okay, no, this guy's the villain. No, he's the villain. But it's like your reactions were all like magnifique.
Also on the treasure map aspect of it, I mean, is it in Cameron, in your imagination, is it true that the father wants that to be the thing they do together to bring them together, or is your character making that up?
In my version of it, it's something that Zeke interprets that he wants them to do together, just because it is something he wants, but there's a piece that he can look to in the actual writing of the will that'll lead him down that path. And I will also say thank you for your guys' notes so far. I think what it's helping me realize is that I just needed a couple more drafts where I edited it down more.
Yeah, but agreed. But that the joint treasure hunt, there's an ambiguity there that I liked, and that I think can be exploited more, so that we're not clear whether the father really said that or whether that's something you're cooking up. I think that if there's ambiguity around that, it makes it a little bit more interesting to me. But yeah, I mean, we're discussing this now for a while. It's very rich stuff. Very good stuff.
I want to jump in. Last thing I'll say, Cameron, because I think you do have a really unique voice as a writer, and I appreciate it in your perspective. This exercise by design is so much more, in my opinion, difficult than being assigned a piece of text and having to make a choice. It's like being, I'll ape a reference that Michael's used for years, which is it's like being a sprinter and being asked to do a marathon, or being a marathoner, being asked to run a sprint. You're working muscles that are different. You're a great freaking writer, man. It's just, and I wonder this for everybody, and it's worth positing to everybody as we progress, is past the writing phase, are you rehearsing this as a piece of text that is outside of your creation? And it is a little bit of that hyphenate, it's nurturing that like hyphenate mindset, which is like, okay, there's a writing phase, boom, that writing phase is done. We can answer for that as writers, but now we have to answer for that as directors, or not directors, as actors, sorry, as actors. And as actors, all of us can admit like, hey, look, we want to work, we want to get paid. And sometimes you ain't going to get the best stuff. You're not going to get, the most polished stuff. It's really difficult, I think, creatively to separate, okay, these are my words, now these are the words I have to say. But when they're the words you have to say, I do think there has to be a clear meridian where you cross and go, okay, I'm not going to like start messing with this creatively. I'm going to I got to make this my character. I wouldn't go back and start like beating yourself up about the writing so much as I would go, okay, hey, Michael's recording this, get the recording. What worked acting, what worked writing, and you have to approach those differently. You just have to. And I speak from experience, otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yes, Lainey.
Good point. Thank you.
One like smaller thing, it's just kind of a performance thing, but I think one thing that I would have liked to see a little bit more performance wise that I think was already in the writing was kind of, I just wanted to see more of a switch in both characters, because I find that my mom's going through something like this, something really similar, minus like the treasure map, and it's crazy how in conversations like this, even between siblings, it's like there are two, like every person is two different people. There's like the sister or the brother, and then like the money person that comes in and like just ruins all love that might have existed in that relationship. It's nuts. But I think I really would have liked to see some sort of definitive moment where it's no longer just brothers talking, where it's like they get on the phone and it's like, hey man, this has been crazy, right? Like, love you so much. Like, we're all grieving. And then somebody says something, and now both characters are two different characters. Like, it's just a switch that I think I felt a little bit in both of you, but I think that performance wise, just like pushing into that and really figuring out like, what those triggers are for each character. Like, what is it that your brother says that just fucking turns that part of you on or off? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's would be an important thing to like kind of structure out beat wise to really, yeah, to kind of just figure the characters out a little bit more and press into it.
That's a really good point. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great note. Anybody else on this? Very interesting piece, provoked a lot of discussion. I want to get back to just Caitlin and Farrell. Can you guys do this now? Yes, John. I thought you had your hand up.
Sorry, just adjusting my poor lack of grooming, which has manifested itself in a rat tail and a man bun.
A rat bun. So are you guys set up? You think you can do this without interruption?
I think so. It hasn't glitched for me since I like moved to this spot. I'm like next to
Well,
my
we're going to be short a scene tonight because Jorge cannot make it.
What was
Lainey, you know that, right?
what was the break supposed to be? Who was that supposed to be?
We were here was the original. It was going to be Caitlin and Farrell, which was we had a problem with. Kelsey and Yvette, which we did. Cameron and Michael Vargas, and then Chelsea and Emma, and then that was going to be the break.
I wonder if the move is to go Chelsea, Emma, and then let Farrell and Caitlin maybe take the break to just run it without all of us there, or
Yeah, that's fine if that's okay with you guys.
But she's in good shape now.
I mean, we should defer to them, but just a thought, just because, you know.
Yeah, I know we're trying to figure this out on the fly, and I'm getting all kinds of family messages here as well, which is making me distracted. So Chelsea and Emma, could you guys go now?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a yes? All right, well, let's do that, and then we'll circle back.
Hey, Michael, I got to take off. Thanks everyone so much for the feedback. I'm really sorry I got to go. I'll be here on all class next week. Bye. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Okay,
Marcus.
thanks.
Chelsea, just I'll turn my camera on and then just start whenever you're ready.
Okay, cool. Oh my God. Hi, did you just feel that?
Hi. Yeah. Oh my God. Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit terrified. I thought I was gonna die, but yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?
Yeah. I think that was like the biggest one I've ever felt.
Oh, it most definitely was. See, this is the reason why I didn't want to fucking move to California. You know, they always say like, oh yeah, the other side with the hurricanes, but at least with the fucking hurricanes, you get like
They give you a warning.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was watching Legally Blonde, and then the walls of my apartment just started shaking, and I thought it was gonna collapse. And so I like ran under my table because I thought that's what you're supposed to do, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, quite frankly, I'm in a door frame, so I think your life would have been saved before mine.
I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too.
Yeah, Jack's out of town this weekend for work, but I would have called you first anyway.
Well, I'm glad you did. I mean, shocked, but glad. Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Nips!
Oh, Nips. Oh. I was going to say, I was so sad because the photo that I have of the two of us from Big Sur last summer fell off my fireplace mantelpiece and it shattered all over the ground.
Oh, I love that photo.
Yeah, me too.
Nips!
Wait, you said you were shocked. Why were you shocked?
I don't know. I mean, it's not like I've heard from you a lot since you moved out.
What do you mean? We talk like every day.
Oh, I didn't know you qualified occasional Instagram DMs as talking, but yeah, sure we do. I'm so fucking scared. Should I go to bed?
I mean, I thought you were okay with me moving out. Like things were cool, and then COVID hit, and obviously, like, it's not an easy time for us to just get together and hang out.
I mean, I never said I had an issue with you moving out. I was just saying that a lot of things have changed, you know? And yeah, I don't know. You just didn't seem that interested in checking in on me before now. And now that Jack's gone, I'm sure you have a lot more time on your hands.
I mean, I check in on you when I can. Right? Like it's not like you've been checking in on me.
Yeah, I didn't want to disturb, you know, your new love nest lifestyle. That's how it is. So
Sure, what is this about? Like, are you mad at me because I moved out, or are you mad at me because I'm not checking in on you enough? Like, I literally am calling you after a massive fucking earthquake to see if you're okay. I don't understand what's so wrong about that.
what's wrong is the fact that it took a massive earthquake for you to decide to call me. You know, I mean, you know, I've been living by myself since February, literally by myself, as the whole world around us is fucking falling apart.
Yeah, but it's not my responsibility to be the only person checking in on you. Like, that's a lot of pressure and weight to put on someone else, right?
Yips.
And I thought you were happy for me and Jack.
It's not about that. That's not the point.
Okay, then what's the point?
Do you have any idea what it's been like for me? I mean, you moved out, you have Jack. I mean, Lee went back home to live with her family, and my whole fucking family left the country because of how bad it was getting. So, I mean, yeah, I get it. Look, I get it. I'm not blaming you for having a life. I totally understand. I just thought that there would be some more something, you know, like a few check-in, some wine nights or anything, because this sucks. It really sucks.
Oh, fuck. Jack is calling me again. I'm sorry. This is like the third time he's called me. I need to make sure that he knows that I'm alive, okay? Can I call you right back?
Yeah, that's totally fine. We'll talk
Okay.
later.
Yeah, that was really cool. What was the writing prompt on?
So I didn't know we had to use a prompt. I thought they were more like suggestions. So
You don't have to. No, that's fine.
okay, cool. Sorry.
That's fine. I kept looking at it thinking, oh, so you just guys made one up. That's cool. That's not a problem. I thought what I really liked about it is, first of all, it was very kinetic because you're moving around and we have the shaking and all that. Chelsea, were you calling for your cat? Was that what that is?
Yeah, Nips.
Nips. Okay.
Mhm.
Is that your cat's name?
No, our cats have terrible names.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I thought that I wasn't sure I fully understood the nature of your friendship or relationship. I guess just prior roommates and friends. And that's kind of okay. There was an ambiguity about that I sort of liked. And I also liked that the strange circumstances we find ourselves in, whether it's COVID, living alone, having, being in an earthquake, it's just kind of scrambling everything in our brains. And I think you guys captured that really well, because it makes everything is abnormal. And so our reactions become abnormal. Our reactions become outsized and strange and more sensitive. And I just thought that it felt really genuine and real. I felt like I really got the relationship strongly from both of you. Where does it go from here? What goes on with their friendship after this?
I have no idea. I mean, I'd like to think that maybe a forced wine night would occur, but
Yeah, we kind of wanted to leave it a little, will they, won't they be best friends again, reconcile?
Right. And it's also just, it is kind of a jealousy thing, yes? I mean, are you jealous, Chelsea? Is your character jealous of the fact that she moved out and she has, I guess, a boyfriend and is going through this with somebody else?
yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. And I think, just like you said, it probably wouldn't have normally been this way, but it's kind of like when all these things are happening to you, when you're not asking for them, it seems as if you're the victim and as if you're the one who needs help. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's kind of even keel until it's just crazy and out of balance. I really liked it. I thought it was very believable, and it had an immediate conflict. You had the use of the earthquake as a inciting moment to rekindle, get back in touch with somebody. I thought was really well done. I thought it was great. I'd like to just open it up. Yeah, Kelsey, I'm having a family issue here. I'm getting all kinds of texts. Carry on. Let me just go deal with something if you don't mind. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Of course.
Chelsea, when you said, "Oh, I didn't know," DMing me on the Instagram DMs, like that for me, like the scene just like slips into this like point of no return. That's like so lovely. I thought that was just so perfectly played. And like, if you've ever had a fallout with a friend, it starts with just like one slip of the tongue. Sorry. That's like crazy, but I love that. That moment was perfect.
Thank you.
I'll jump in real quick and say, and I don't have a baby as a prop, but and I didn't. I was kidding. I loved the Emma, your aspect ratio versus Chelsea, yours. Chelsea, the decision to move. It takes it out of, oh, we're stuck on Zoom, and it made it a freaking scene. And my eyes were darting back and forth. And it created the sense of what we get from editing in cinema. And the acting was brilliant, the writing was brilliant, but those bold choices to look, it's cinema verite, it's found footage, whatever you want to call it. We're not working with like beautiful lenses and cinematographers. But the way that you constructed the scene, the writing, and then using the storytelling of Emma, you're there and you're very close and your face is very there, and Chelsea, you're moving around. I just thought it was wildly successful in terms of helping us to sort of get where these characters were at. And I don't know if that was intentional, but that was my perception of that, was that as cinematographers, self-directing, whatever, it was very successful in complementing the writing.
I'm back. What did I miss?
Not much.
Not much.
Farrell, and then Christine.
Just to continue on with what John said, I love the fact that you were moving, but I almost caught it to say, I'm not even going to give you my full attention right now. Right? Like, yeah, whatever. And I felt that tension. It was like, oh, I've had moments with people like that. And so I think you both just created this conflict, this undercurrent. And you're like, oh, this is so hard. But you still weren't going to like sit down and give her your full attention. And it was a little bit passive aggressive, which I thought was lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we definitely discussed that aspect of it too.
Yeah. And yeah, Chelsea, we had talked like when you're, whether it's good news or like when we're on the phone anyway, I feel like we're always, I mean, at least I am always like pacing back and forth, but especially if you're giving some, like if you're telling someone something that you've never said before and it's not great, like you maybe don't want to, you want to hide behind the screen as much as you can without, you know, being like this.
Anybody else on this?
Christine, you
Sorry,
had
I had to.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Oh,
something.
Christine, you're right.
I was just gonna say something similar to what Farrell and everybody else has said, but it was the few times I've actually had you know, there's the trope or the kind of like cliche of like girl fights, and it's a dangerous thing, but I've also like lived it, and it's a really like when you get to that point, I think it's really interesting. And so it was like, oh shit, kind of similar to what Kelsey was saying about like as soon as the DM thing came up, it's like, oh no. So I just thought it was really incredibly relatable in terms of like, are we doing this? Are we gonna, okay, we're doing this, and what that feels like as it kind of keeps going. And you can tell that neither party really wants it to have to go there, but it keeps going. So I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Well, I guess dovetailing off of that, like, how did y'all work on this? How did you come to this? I love that it's left a little open-ended. You leaned into, I guess, like the Act 2 conflict and didn't feel a need for resolution. Like, how did you settle on this? And then did you rehearse it from an acting standpoint? Because to me, it felt very, very lived in. And I'm a male, obviously. You two are females having a conversation, but it was triggering in a way that I feel like we've all sort of been in this paradigm of a relationship before.
Do you want to say anything, Emma?
You can go first if you have.
Well, we kind of just like discussed the idea, came up with the idea, decided that's what we were writing about, took 2 days, both wrote our own versions of it, came back together, combined versions of the script. And then with rehearsal, because I think it came very naturally for us to write it, we didn't have to rehearse a ton. It was more so like establishing like, all right, well, this probably needs a bit more tension. This is like, we outlined the relationship before we wrote it. So it seemed like it came together a bit easier, honestly, than most of my collaborative writing situations. At least for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we blocked it out too. So both of us are moving it, not like line by line, but kind of like, okay, from here to here, I'm going to be moving. And then from here to here, Chelsea's going to be moving, because didn't want to induce any like motion sickness or anything. And then when we did it, when we were rehearsing, we kind of were like trying it out in different ways. So like ways in which we just start and there's tension right off the bat, and then ways where maybe we don't want to touch upon the tension. So we did kind of play around with where to start it. And then a big thing was we didn't want to overrun it, because we really did like what we were finding. And also felt that it just, I guess because it felt more natural, we didn't want to like take away from that, because we just like where our impulses were taking us. I'm rambling.
You
Was
are
it always
rambling,
clear
but
who
it's
would
good.
play who?
I'm sorry.
What's that?
Was it always clear who would play who, in terms of like the roles and the sort of positions they're in?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Convenient. It was so easy. Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was just, I don't know, it felt extremely real to me. That has to do with the writing. It also just has to do with the playing style of it. It didn't feel, I really didn't know what was going to be happening next. And the whole, what is my note here? Yeah, the whole there was a moment when it just turned when I think it was when Chelsea, you asked her, like, is it going to take an earthquake for you to call me? That's an interesting turn in the scene. You know, I just thought that was very nicely handled. Anybody else on this? Are we willing to try? Oh, yes, sorry, Julia, continue.
I was just gonna say, yeah, just echoing what everyone else said. It was so relatable. I just really enjoyed watching it. It was really fun watching it, but at the end, it was really heartbreaking. And Chelsea, I don't think I've ever seen you act before, but I thought that was great. You were both, and you too, Emma. You both were so natural, and it just felt so real. So it was really fun watching it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No, Caitlin and Farrell, are you guys, you think you're good to go?
Sure.
Yes? Let's give it a try. Third time's the charm. All right.
Oh, Camille. Oh, it's so good to see your beautiful face.
Hi, Mama. How you doing? How's Dad and the boys?
Oh, you know, your father's crazy busy. Oh, and the twins. Well, they are hating their homeschool teacher. She is so mean.
Oh, well, I'm sure they'll be glad for your help once they start applying to colleges. How are virtual tours going? It's so sad that they can't actually go to campus.
Yeah, I know. They hate it. They pretty much hate everything right now. But you know what? I think they actually enjoyed the UCSB tour. You know, I think it was, you know, the surfing and the ocean. Oh, you know, I'm just really hoping that they stay here and they go to Vanderbilt, because I can't even imagine having all my children gone.
Oh, but that's what kids do. We grow up and we move as far away from our parents as we can.
Well, I suppose you're right. Oh, I mean, I did the same thing, right? Oh, but we miss you terribly. Hey, so have you decided when you're going to be flying home for the holiday?
Actually, Mom, that's why I called you, because I'm not.
What do you mean?
I'm not going to come home this year. Because Mom, it's not safe. It's not safe for you. It's not safe for me. And I don't know.
No, come on. Of course you are coming home. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not safe? Don't be ridiculous. We're family. You're always going to be safe with your family.
But Mom, you know that's not how it works. I mean, anyone can get sick anytime, anywhere. And I know, I don't like the idea of being on a plane with like 200 other people who take their masks off every 2 seconds to eat or drink. And I would feel so incredibly guilty if I brought something home to one of you guys.
Camille, you're being very dramatic. Okay, you're not going to bring anything home. Hey, how about this? How about I pay for your ticket home? Okay, I know money's really tight right now.
No, Mom, it's not the money, and I'm not being dramatic. I mean, do you really think that the airplanes and airports are actually safe right now? Because I think that they're more worried about not going bankrupt than they are about keeping us safe. And I told you, I don't feel comfortable flying. I don't.
Camille, now they don't want to go out of business, so they are doing absolutely everything they can to make sure that people are protected so that they can travel home to see their family after this horrible year, right? Come on. I need you home.
And I want to be home, but regardless of how safe they think they're being, I don't trust the people on the plane either. I mean, if this year has shown me anything, it's just how absolutely stupid people are. But I've been so safe for 8 months now, and I'm not willing to risk my life or my family's for a holiday.
Now, you do know this could be Poppy's last Thanksgiving, right? You know, it was so hard on him. It was hard on all of us when Granny died last year. And he has been so lonely. And oh, he is so looking forward to seeing you. Right? We all want to see you. Come on.
Well, I was planning on coming home in April, but we're in the middle of a global pandemic, Mom. I mean, I am so homesick and I do miss you all so much, but I just can't.
No, Camille, I think that you are choosing fear over family.
Mom, you're not listening to me. You could die. We could die. Poppy could die. This isn't just some conspiracy theory. This isn't just some annual flu. This is real. And it really just, it pisses me off that y'all aren't taking this more seriously.
Well, now, first of all, I am listening to you. And we're being very careful here. We are wearing masks. You know what? You're making me out to be the bad guy here. I just want my daughter home and I want the family to be together.
And I want that too, but I want it when it's safe. And I'm not making you out to be the bad guy. I'm really not. It's just that I've gone for so long being so safe and I've sanitized everything I've touched. I've crossed the street anytime anyone breathes in my direction. And it's really jarring to think about being around our whole family right now with nobody wearing any masks and everyone's just together. And I know it sucks. It sucks so much. And I can't tell you how many times I've cried to my therapist about it, but it's the right thing to do. And I'm not running away. I'm not choosing fear. I'm staying away for now because I want to protect you, because I am terrified every day of the thought of one of you getting sick.
Hey, sweetie. I'm sorry. Okay, don't worry. Okay, please come on, sweetie. Don't worry. You need to know that we are being safe, okay? We're all being so safe. And I want you to feel safe, okay? So if you need to stay there, of course say that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just never thought that you wouldn't be coming home. Goodness. This is going to be your first Thanksgiving without your family, huh? Ugh, fucking COVID.
Fucking COVID. I'm sorry, Mama.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I am still gonna put your setting out. I'll have you all set up. I'll put the computer there and we are gonna have Thanksgiving via Zoom. Okay. Oh, and I can send you Granny's very special sweet potato casserole. I know, that's your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Deal. Okay. And as long as if you're okay, are you okay? Then I'm gonna go, okay? Because Dancing with the Stars is about to start.
Okay, enjoy your show. Give Dad and the boys hugs for me. Miss you. Love you, Mama.
I love you too, baby. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was worth the wait. Third time was the charm. That was really great.
So the whole scene, the screen was like.
Yeah, I know. It was a little funky, but it sort of worked because that's kind of what it's about in a way. I thought that was, first of all, that's the conversation that so many people are having. So it's very of the moment, and it was really real and just well done. And what I liked about the way that it was structured is that, just talk about the writing for a second. We have this very sweet talk until Home for the Holidays is introduced, and then this is the hard talk that Caitlin, you have to have. And then when that is going sideways, Mom brings up Poppy's Last Thanksgiving, which is just, the ultimate kind of guilt trip. And so you had a conflict and you resolved it with love. It was just kind of perfect. I really dug it. I thought, just first of all, structurally, I thought it was really smartly done. And I don't know what, Caitlin, first of all, you apparently inherited your curly hair from your mother, because she has curly hair too. But I don't know what it was. Where is it that in the script that you, Caitlin, your character, just kind of loses it? I didn't really mark it, but it was so profound how emotionally you got into that. And I thought it was that was really very moving and very good. What triggered that for you?
It was in the longer line I have, I think, towards the end, where I think I say something about it's really jarring to think of being around the whole family right now and no one's wearing a mask or anything. And I think it was more of like the thought of that kind of induced a panic attack.
Right.
And
right.
so and then
it's,
I talked to my therapist about, like, I already feel guilty, like, stop making me feel guiltier.
Yeah, and I also got that that it was triggering, and that we've all been cooped up to one extent or another like this, and it's having a toll on everybody's mental health, and you imparted that so realistically and so smartly, I thought. Just loved it. I thought it was very moving and definitely worth the wait and the technical hiccups that we had. I want to open it up to anybody else who wants to speak to it. Yeah, Emma, and then Cameron.
Sorry, all these things are popping up on my screen. I thought that was so beautiful. It was so raw and real. The amount of conversations I've had, like, I'm not going home for Thanksgiving or Christmas or parents. Yeah, it's so real. And I thought that you two captured that so beautifully. And thank you so much for championing through the technical difficulties, because especially with a scene like this, especially Caitlin, I know you have to get to an emotional place. I really want to applaud you both for getting through that, because I know how frustrating that could have been. So thank you for indulging us and letting us have that experience, because it was very relatable, and I really enjoyed it.
And somebody else had their hand up. Oh, Cameron. It was Cameron, sorry, and then Chelsea.
This was really relatable for me, and Farrell, I really think you brought to it the assumption that a lot of parental figures bring to the kind of course you're coming home. Like, this isn't like this should, I really liked that it was once after another. There were these three different layers of acceptance, and then the final acceptance that this, homeward voyage wasn't happening. It was just really, really well done, and the layering of it was really well done. And I think Caitlin that was fantastic too. How you just took that journey all the way there. I really enjoyed it.
Chelsea, I think you had your hand up next.
Yeah, that just kind of like wrecked me a little bit. In part because I've had a very similar conversation with my mother, and which I also cried, you know, because it was insane. But I loved how you really allowed yourself to do that. That was very beautiful and very touching to watch. And also I appreciated the way that Farrell responded to it, because I feel like moms often try not to like add to the emotion that their child is having because they don't want to see their kid upset. And I think I really saw the attempt to compose on Farrell's end, even though it was hard for her to really watch her daughter like be so anxious and be so worried and terrified about the state of the world. It was I thought it was played beautifully, truly.
Agreed. Chris Frost and then Yvette.
That was painfully relevant. Well done. And to piggyback on what Emma said, it's not easy to do, to go to that place and get broken up. So yeah, kudos to you guys on that. The passive aggressive, maybe even aggressive thing that you did, Farrell, was so, it was good. It was good. It was so real. And I think we all of us have probably experienced it to some degree. So you guys wrote a piece that's relevant and you knocked it out of the park.
Well, if I can just say, Caitlin brought this idea because she had to have that conversation with her mom. She's like, I have an idea. I was like, perfect.
My mom was really sweet and understand. My mom told me like, no, you shouldn't come. You're right. But what if, you know?
Was it Yvette? Yeah, Yvette.
I'm kind of gonna be repeating the same thing as everyone, so it's like so relatable. I love how like Farrell, I was watching you. There was this like look or this tilt in your head that you did right before you dropped in like the bomb of like, what about Pops? And the look that you did reminded me of how what my mom does whenever we get into difficult conversations. I was like, oh, she hit the nail on the head. But I thought you played that so beautifully. But another one is that I really like that you guys chose the words fucking COVID to break the ice. Because you guys could have like gone any direction because it was so heavy. But you're just like, fucking COVID. And it's just like, it just relieved everyone. So I loved
That's a great note. You're absolutely right. I had the same reaction to that because it's so it's a little bit out of character to the tenor of the rest of their conversation. And then they just go right down for it. I thought it was great. Other thoughts on this? Yes, John.
Farrell, I have a question for you in your process of creating this, because obviously it's resonated with people and it certainly resonates with me in conversations I've had, but outside of, I guess, what would be the archetype, stereotype of this parent under these circumstances, was that what you were driving towards, or were you able to find a core of this person and center her in a way that was not the parent, but I'm not making any sense, but from an acting standpoint, were you able to find the core of this character that outside of this particular Zoom audience, you were able to approach with a sense of righteousness, or that she was correct and right?
Actually, the way I approached her was, I think, and one thing was with my mother. Like when I moved away from my home, I had a friendship with my mom. All of a sudden I could see her differently. So I think that's when relationships start to change between a mother and daughter. But I'm also a mom that's about to become an empty nester. And I think there's a panic within that. There's a desperateness within that. And after this year of COVID, I just went to the fact of I need to try everything. And also some of the backstory is that we're in Nashville, right? So her mom's in Nashville, my sister and everybody's in that. They're not wearing masks. They're going to parties and having a good time. So just kind of, it's just a different reality. And I think within this scene, it was finally really truly hearing it and seeing the panic on her face, because we're not feeling it here in Nashville. We're like, yeah, we wear masks. So that's just kind of the elements that I was trying to bring in, because I really just think when I say it's a harsh thing to say, but you're choosing fear over family. I think that's the most motherly thing, is I'm kind of slapping her going, how could you do that? I'm telling you, you're safe. And then that's when she falls apart and gets so upset. Did I answer the question?
Yes, it more than I think my question was kind of a smattering of thoughts. That does answer it. Yeah, I just thought you both did such a lovely job. It was viscerally true and viscerally of the moment. I found it very affecting.
Yeah, I agree. I was very moved by it. Kels.
Yeah, I was just gonna obviously fantastic job, both of you, so vulnerable. It reminds me of a quote Gail Pillsbury said. She's a casting director. She's like, my favorite actors are the ones who hover just above reality. And that's where the art comes in, where the reality feels like you're in the next room, but the reality is hovering or the acting is hovering just above the reality so that everyone can feel it. You created a scene that everyone can relate to by being so vulnerable and so in the moment and so responsive. It was just stunning and beautiful. Great job.
It was, and I was also, it's interesting the turn, Farrell, that your character takes to reconcile with the situation, to reconcile with your daughter, and I think part of it is because Caitlin dissolves into tears, and when you're a mom or a dad and your kid dissolves into tears, you start to change your strategy because you realize perhaps there's a reason for that, and the way you kind of maneuvered that area and the way you reached your resolution was just right. I mean, just tonally, the whole thing was just right. It was really very, very good. Loved it. Anyone else on
off
this?
of
Yeah,
that, I will say, Caitlin, I think the way that you found the extremes of emotion were very successful in that they didn't seem premeditated or manipulative, because would that be the case, it changes the entire scene. And Farrell, you did such an incredible job all throughout, listening, reacting, making that transition. But to me, because we had a couple of false starts, I was like, oh, I know this scene. I get where this is going. And I still found it really surprising. And part of that rides on the writing that y'all created, but also just the raw, like, honesty that you were able to find. And it needs to be said, you're never going to get it on take one. And I think there's an artifice to this Zoom thing that's like, oh, you got to nail it immediately. And there's nothing wrong with going, hey, can we start over? Can we do that? We've had a few instances of this, but in this case, it was technical difficulties. And it is astounding that you stuck the landing and were able to resurrect this thing not once, but 3 different times. So it needs to be commended for both of your work as scene partners, your work as writers, but just as fucking professionals. It needs to be said, like, I couldn't do it. The mental game is not there right now, and you guys did it. And in going, oh, hey, can we do it right now? Okay, sure, we'll do it. You guys didn't even ask for, hey, can we have 5 seconds to breathe? You just went into it. It's really commendable, and it needs to be highlighted.
Agreed. Yes. Anybody else? This was a really affecting scene. So here's the thing. We have Christine Weber and Chris Frost. We have Sherry and Julia. Lainey and Jorge. Jorge's not going to make it, right, Lainey? So you guys could do whatever you want to do with that. You can record it and send it along or whatever. So we really have 2 scenes left, and I would like to take a 5-minute break. And can we meet back here at 9:30 approximately? Okay. See you
I'll,
then.
I'll be gone. I'll see all of you guys next time. Bye.
Okay,
Bye,
Chels. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
So did everybody have an amazing break?
Did Michael just totally freeze?
I think he
Or
did.
that-
I was waiting for the punchline. I was like, what?
he's holding that stare. I
He
tell
really
you.
is.
Oh, he just left.
Sherry is the host now.
Dun, da, da, da.
Ah, there he is.
He's back.
Don't make me the host.
This has been like a snake bit evening. I came back and I started talking to people and I realized everybody was frozen. So are we all back? We have Chris Frost and Christine, and then Sherry and Julia, and Lainey and Jorge are not, unfortunately, not going to be on the schedule tonight. Is everybody back who needs to be back? I guess they are. Yeah. I don't know where there's Kelsey. So Christine and Chris Frost, yeah? You guys ready to go?
Heck yeah.
All right,
Rock and roll.
let's do it. Rock and roll, baby.
Hi.
Hey. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
You know, I okay. I just still can't believe, he just went so fast.
I know. Sasha was really happy that she got to sing at the service. So thanks for making that happen.
Of course, he was her grandpa, and I'm glad she got to do that for him. She did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking too that Dad actually, he would have liked that it had to be such a small service. He was never one for crowds.
So, how have you been holding up with all of this, really?
Well, as well as can be expected, I guess.
You know what I mean. Have you been going to your meetings and everything still, or?
Of course, yeah.
Well, not of course, but I'm glad.
How are you holding up?
Okay, it's sad. Just sad days and then okay days, but having the girls' schedules to keep up with has been really helpful, actually. But I'm also just using like every spare minute to sort out the estate. And that's actually why I'm calling.
Oh?
Yeah, so everything seemed normal. Like I had talked with Dad about his will, and we made revisions a few years ago after Mom, but I was sort of surprised to see that Dad suddenly has both of us as owners or co-owners or whatever of the lake house.
Oh, wow.
And I guess I'm just wondering what you said to him. Like, how'd you manage that?
Excuse me?
Look, I am exhausted. So I'm just going to cut to the chase here. You haven't been to the lake house in what, like 15 years? And Jake and the girls and I go every summer. Like, you know that it's basically our second home.
I know that, but
I was the one who was there helping open it up with mom and dad every year. Jake and I paid to replace the pipes after they all froze. We paid for the new roof. We paid for that window that you smashed through. Everything.
I offered to pay you back for that, and you said no.
What? I just don't understand. After everything that they went through with you, why would he just suddenly have decided to let you? Why would he think that you deserve to own that place?
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, one, fuck you. And two, it's not like he left me the house outright. He left it to both of us. So why are you bothered by that?
Because, and you know what? I know it seems rude or whatever, but honestly, Jason.
So, you know, Anna, I have been dealing with my shit forever, and I know that. But after mom died, I spent a lot of time healing my relationship with dad, and that was tough. And I know that he had a lot to be angry about. Okay, I know that, and I know that you had.
You know what? I know that because I'm the one who convinced him to give you another chance.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just breathe.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
And just so you know, to be clear, I did not say anything to Dad. This is all news to me. I am as surprised as you are.
Pinky swear?
Pinky swear.
Okay.
I actually think I know why you did it.
Why?
Because that's where Dad and I buried the hatchet. That time I fucked up 15 years ago that you just talked about, that wasn't the last time I went to the lake house. I've been driving up to the lake house to see Dad off and on a few times in the last year or so. I thought you knew that. He never told you. I also think that he knew you and I had a long ways to go to get there. I think that clever bastard left me the house because he hopes that you and I will somehow be able to be close again, or whatever. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. That actually makes some sense. Yeah, okay. You're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
You do. You do.
I do.
Okay, because I look, I know you're right. You did all the work. That it's the house it's practically been your place. I agree with you. So if you don't feel that this is the right move, I'll sign my half over.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
What?
You're right. I think you're right. He gave it to both of us so that we can you know, be better all together. And I've got to trust you.
You sure?
Yeah. But this means that you are in charge of cleaning out the gutters from now on. I'm serious. I hate doing that shit.
Deal.
Okay. Well, we're planning to head up there on the weekend of the 6th for one more bonfire before we close it up for the season. Would you and Sasha want to come? The girls just keep talking about how they want to spend more time with their cousin.
We'll plan on it. She'll be thrilled.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, I promise I won't put a spider on your bed, your pillow right before bedtime like I did that one summer.
Yeah, you better not. Pinky swear?
Pinky swear. We'll see you then.
Okay, see you then.
I can't do that. How do you do that? Yes, there we go. I don't think I've ever done
we're
that.
done. We're done. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. My wife was. It's okay. I was trying to time it. I didn't want her to walk in the middle of the scene. So anyway, sorry about that.
No worries. First of all, I'm glad you had sent me the email earlier about this, because I'm going through this week. Not the acrimony, none of that, but we're going through all this stuff, which has just been like, you just feel like you've been hit by a truck. It's just rough. So the reality of the reality of how you created this scene and how you played it was profound. I thought it was I just thought you brought the family history so economically. It was really economical in how it was written. And I'm just curious how you put it together and how you rehearsed it, because I just thought it was fantastic. And I mean, I have nothing but praise for it. So tell me how you came up with it. And I'd like to know even more specifically how you rehearsed it, because it felt so raw. It felt like the first time you did it where you just hit every note. So I want to know about that. Tell me your secrets.
Do you want to go ahead?
Sure. We started, we actually had like opposite ideas of what we wanted to do for the prompts. And so it was like, I was like, I got a great idea. And he's like, I got a great idea. So we kind of just settled on, this was the one that I think we both had listed. And he came with like he referred to it as an outline, but it was really, he just sort of like gave the whole structure of it. And then I went and just like fleshed it out and tried to stay within that that framework. And then the rehearsal of it, we read through it a couple of times just to make sure that like there weren't any real gaps or anything, but
Right.
we purposefully, I think we're good to not do it until we get to class.
Which is why I dropped the line, and there was like a 20-minute bus ride that came through in the Corsina, and I apologize for that.
That's why I asked that question, because sometimes when you know where you have to go emotionally, you want to leave a little bit, want to hold a little bit back until it's go time, which I felt like, because it felt so right and so connected and so raw. It didn't feel over rehearsed. It certainly didn't feel under rehearsed, but it felt really fresh. And that's a technique of holding back a little bit until it's go time is something that I have used, that I've worked with other people who do that, where you kind of know where the rocket ship's going to land, but you don't fully land it until you do it. I just thought it was great. It was really very moving and very real. And I totally bought that you were who you were to each other. Is Sasha? I was a little confused in the end. Is Sasha your wife or your daughter? Who's Sasha?
It's my daughter.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
No, I found it. I was very moved by it. Part of it is because of what I'm going through, but never. If I wasn't going through it, I would think I would still feel exactly the same. I'd like to hear from other folks, see what they thought. Yeah, Farrell.
This was so touching and so beautiful. And I wrote a note in the beginning when we were with you, Christine. It's like, okay, this is going to be a heavy conversation, right? It was like a little bit of foreboding. And then I wrote down early on, you did this sideward glance, and I wrote down, is she pissed? You were pissed. But what I loved about it is that, Chris, you brought such vulnerability of an addict, somebody that had to like clean up his life. I'm assuming it was alcohol or drugs or something. Anyway, it was all here. Just that heavy weight of having to get through that struggle. And that I really believed you. I really believed that you've been through hell and back, and that you started it by thanking her for allowing your daughter to sing. I thought was beautiful, right?
Oh, thank you.
But we also thought, okay, something's coming. And then it was like, I was raised in a family of alcoholics. So there's just that element of, do we have them come to the funeral or the event? I just thought all those elements were just beautifully laced, and it gave me hope. It was heartbreaking, but it gave me hope. And I thought that was just truly lovely work.
Thank you.
And also, I have one more thought on that, and I'll get to the rest of you. But the concept of Chris, of your character knowing why Dad did that, because that's where you buried the hatchet, and she didn't know that, is just really smart. Just structurally and writing wise, that was a very, very smart, clever way to do that. I thought it worked very well.
I just want to say,
yes,
I came up with just the skeleton of it, but Christine did an incredible job of fleshing that out. I just have to say. So yeah, I sent her the idea of it, but I didn't answer how we worked on that, and that's how it was. We had a couple ideas, and then for whatever reason, I decided to go to Drama Town with that, and and I said, "Are you cool with this?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then next thing I know, she completely fleshed it out, and made it an actual scene. So that was really cool. And then on your note, we didn't really run it. We just read the lines 2 days ago, and then that was exhausting enough as it is. So, but I was very nervous about lines, which I never really usually am, but because we didn't even really do it, yeah. So I don't know if I recommend that for everybody, but it's cathartic in a way. It's just that there was a long pause there because I dropped a line. So that's all.
Emma, yes.
I actually thought that pause was one of my favorite parts of the entire piece, if it was the one that I'm thinking of. I thought that was beautiful. And that last moment between you two, Anna, I know your name is Christine, but Anna, and I forget actually what Chris's character's name is. So never mind, just Christine inviting Chris and his daughter to the lake house. Like that moment I think is going to stick with me for a while. And then one other thing to add, very interesting, something that was interesting. I love the pinky promise thing, but also I felt it was so cool to see. And now I'm thinking it's probably more subconscious, but you guys are mirroring each other a lot in like the way where you're holding your hand and like
Yes.
in your head. So it was interesting because you could see that that past relationship, that closeness, how much you guys like how close you were and how much you influenced each other. So that was just so interesting. And if you were to do it again, I wonder if you would keep that.
Extremely believable as brother and sister. Yeah. Yes, Kelsey.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you didn't really rehearse it a lot, because I think what it forced you to do, and sometimes it's hard to do on Zoom, is that you really were connected. And I think that's why the mirroring just kind of like happened. It didn't seem like it was a natural choice. It just seemed like something that happened because you were allowing yourselves to live so fully in the moment. I think sometimes these trickier, more emotionally intense scenes do benefit from not having too much rehearsal, especially because the Zoom's just so tricky like that. But I thought it was really, really effective, and I think it's cool that you didn't have to overwork it, that you just allowed it to be in that moment. It's great.
Anybody else? Nobody else. Okay. Oh, Farrell, one more thing.
Sorry, one more thing. Chris, I know you're like, oh, I lost my line and I didn't know what was going on to what Emma said. I just thought it was all part of the scene. So it is interesting how we beat ourselves up because we go jump into our head. And one thing I did want to say that I think really, two things that really help the scene just really get connected is, one, I totally believe that you were surprised about being a co-owner to the house. But in the beginning, in that first moment, I liked you. And then it's always interesting when you like a character and then another character influences to go, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't like him. But then you guys weaved it back in to say, okay, there's hope. I'll probably be thinking about this scene for a while. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, the line, Chris, that you have is, first of all, fuck you. That was like jarring in the best possible way. I mean, it is meant to be jarring. Your character means it to be jarring to your sister, but it's jarring to us as well because it goes from cold to hot immediately in the way that shit happens in real life. I mean, that's what happens. That's why it felt so real, is people do that, and people do, particularly with family, that's so complicated, and people get we're often sometimes meanest to people who we're closest to. And again, I think it was Emma who said, yeah, the pinky promise thing brings us back to seeing them as children, which is what this is all about. It's a really nice device from the standpoint of the writing. I thought it was, I'll echo what Farrell said. I will be thinking about this for a long time because I'm currently living through a different, much better version of this, but living through that. Anybody else? Okay, so we're going to move on to Sherry and Julia, and that will be the last for the evening. But are you guys good to go? All right.
We good.
Here we go.
One sec. Hold on, I'm still on Michael mode. Yeah. How do I go back to it? Oh, there. Wait, how do I go to participants? Okay, I guess this is fine. How do I just make you? Oh, there we go. Okay, got it. Okay. No, hold on. Sorry. No, sorry. I want to be able, because like with a 2-person Zoom, like you see the other person, like you see both, I see me too, and that's how we rehearse. So should I just change? All right, I'll just do it that way. Okay.
Ready?
Oh my God, Noe, your bat mitzvah invitation.
Oh my God. I can't believe Mom kept all that stuff.
I know. Even for me, this would have ended up in the trash.
Knowing you, you'd feel bad about getting rid of it and put it in the Goodwill pile.
True. You over it?
Oh yeah. Trash it, please.
All right.
No, not the Goodwill pile.
I thought you wouldn't notice. Oh my God, you're like a ninja.
I'm sorry I had to get back and I couldn't stay to help you.
Oh my God, no, it's cool. Thank you for relieving me of my firstborn privileges. The eulogy you gave at the Zoom memorial was like really touching. Plus, it's been good here with the kids and with Dad. And they're, oh my God, they're so mad at me that I've locked them out of the basement and they can't play with our old toys.
Oh, give them kisses from their Auntie Noe.
I will. Is it getting frigid up in Boston already?
You know, I can't believe I've spent the last 7 years in Cambridge already, and I'm still not used to this. It was 36 today.
It was 76 here in Pasadena.
Thanks.
Oh, is that adjunct professor, what's his name, still saying like he's sorry about your mom? COVID's ruined everything or whatever?
No, it's more like, so sorry to hear about your mum, love. It took my nan. Damn COVID. But he sure as heck keeps telling me to use hand sanitizer after grading each freshman's lab report.
Well, you got to stay protected. Have you talked to any of your colleagues about, what really went down?
I tried telling them we couldn't bury her in a Jewish cemetery as a joke, thinking they'd get it, but they just kept asking me about her tattoos.
Mom didn't have any tattoos.
Exactly. So have you found anything?
Well, if Mom would leave us a note, she would leave it in this box filled with all of these little boxes, or maybe in this box filled with old tissue paper. No note. So let's not get our hopes up. Plus, we knew this was coming.
Where's her mink?
What?
Her fur.
No, I know what you said. I just legit have not heard anyone say the word mink since we would watch Girl Friday on TV when we were little.
Well, that's what it's called. So, where is it?
Noah.
Adina. Where is it?
In the trash pile.
Why? No, save it. I want to keep it.
Oh my God, no, you do not. It is so gross. It has all these holes in it, not because Mom ever wore it, but because after 35 years hanging in the closet, the moths took to feast.
Let me see it.
Okay.
Put it in the Noah pile.
We could put it in the Goodwill pile.
Adina, no! It's the last thing I have of her.
What are you talking about? She left you her Cartier diamond necklaces and that Tiffany's diamond engagement ring when she was engaged to that director before she married Dad.
I don't care about that stuff. I just want the mink.
Can you just not call it a mink?
Can you just give it to me?
You want to trade the diamonds?
Adina, fine, whatever. Just put it in my pile, okay?
Fine. Why?
When I was little and she'd have another one of her episodes and start screaming, I'd go down in the basement and feel the softness of the fur brushing against my face. And that was her. That was mom being good. That was mom telling me, you're good, Noe. And that everything was good and we were somehow gonna be good and that somehow this coat will help me be good again.
I can't believe that you like still have. I always wanted a security blanket. Knowing you had yours means I did a good job of protecting you when she was going crazy. Keep your blankie.
Mink.
Mom.
Also loved that. We're in this territory now. One of the things I liked about it is how functional you two were with each other without being, deeply wounded and fucked up. You seem to be like harmonious in this dispensation of things your mother left you. It felt really right to me. The note that you're talking about at the beginning is a note that details that she would have left you, but she didn't.
Goodbye note, details.
Gotcha. And just the way you created all the little details about her, the Tiffany, the Cartier necklace, and the mink, and how you protected her when she was going a little nuts. You laced in all these little details about your mother, which I thought were really cleverly done. Little sidebar, my mother-in-law, who just died, as you know, they went through her freezer and she had a piece of wedding cake in there that's 35 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
Nobody ate it, John, so you don't need to make that face. But yeah, people just keep weird shit. I thought that was I really liked it. I liked the sisterliness of it. I liked how you were both dealing with the practical aspects of what was ahead of you in a smart, harmonious kind of way. I liked both the characters. I liked you individually and I liked you collectively as sisters. I thought it was just fun to watch. How did you guys feel about
Good.
Good.
I mean, I'll just say it was really fun because we did a separate draft of this, which was a lot kind of going just like the more darker route and just a lot sadder. And then Sherry, I'll give her the credit, she did such a fabulous job with this, and she basically we were on the Google Doc and I came back and I was like, oh, it's there, and I loved it. And yeah, it was just really fun. I don't know if I've done this like genre before, but it was really fun.
So thanks, Sherry.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, like Julia, I said, like, how do you want to write this? You know, because when I worked with Yvette the first time, I said, Yvette, you can write it. Yeah. But so I was determined to like have some sort of part. And yeah, I think the process just worked really well for us. Julia said, let's talk about it, and then let's silently work on the Google Doc together. And I wrote a part, she wrote a part, I wrote a part, she wrote a part, and then that's how it worked.
Well, and these sorts of things that people go through, you have good days and you have bad days.
For sure.
This was a good day, though.
Right.
It seemed like this was one of their good days, and I kind of appreciated seeing that, how they were navigating a very difficult situation in a really essentially friendly, harmonious way without going too crazy with each other. I thought, I mean, and that, I don't mean to sound Pollyanna-ish about it, but I mean, that's a good day. You might also have a bad day in a week dealing with this shit, but we saw a good day, and I found that bracing. I liked it very much. I'd like to open it up to what anyone else thinks and has to say. Yeah, Emma.
Oh my God, sorry. I like don't like using my phone for this. Julia, you said that you have never done this genre before, and I would encourage you to do this more, because you were so grounded in your performance. And Sherry too. Like, I love the relationship that you two created, and I really just want to specifically call out your use of Zoom. Like, the way, Sherry, the way that you propped your computer up, like, it felt like we were in that with you. And I was like, wait, can you show me what's in the bucket behind you? Because I kind of want to see what's in there. Like,
Right.
are there any valuable goods? Like, I love those moments in between when you were sifting through and you were walking around. It just felt really real, and we were literally just watching you chat about it. So I thought that was incredibly successful, and as was the entire scene in the performances.
Also, when you snapped on that glove as you got up, that was really very cool. I like that. Caitlin, yes.
I want to second when Emma said it was so real and so, like, just like heartfelt, and just like a technical thing. I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but there was a mirror behind you, Sherry. And so when you went to go pick up the mink, I kind of saw you like grab it from the floor and kind of like shake it, because you can just see it kind of like the bottom half, and bring it back. And I was like, that's kind of cool. That's like very cinematic, like you left the shot, but you didn't leave the shot, and then I really loved the last lines. The security blanket mink mom was so sweet. I really loved it.
Anybody else? Was that you, Cameron? Or Farrell? Farrell, go ahead.
I loved your relationship, and I love how you would play with each other's names, Noah, Adina. I mean, it was just like, oh yeah, they're sisters. And what I was like, wow, when you're sitting in the midst, Sherry, of all that box, it's just overwhelming. It's overwhelming with that much stuff. When children are left with all of that. And to what Michael said earlier, it could be like a really snippy, you've left me behind. Because I first thought, uh-oh, here we go. But it wasn't. It was like, that's okay. I understand that you need to be here, but we're still going to do it together. And I've got these piles. So by doing that, I was really like part of the scene. And I really wanted to know more about your relationship as sisters and your friendship as sisters. And then as you brought us into the relationship that you had with your mother. I wanted to learn more about that. I actually would love to have an earlier scene with mom.
For sure.
with all her jewels and minks and stuff.
We have a mental picture of mom now. I mean, with the jewels and the fur and the apparently slightly emotionally unstable, all of that. And when Julia, when you mentioned feeling the fur against your face. I grew up in Minnesota where women did have fur coats because it was cold. And I can remember doing that as a little kid, going into the closet because it just felt so great to feel that on your, it just feels fantastic, particularly when you're a little kid. So I totally related to that because I think that's what kids do. Yeah, Cameron, yes.
This is par for the course. Everything I have to say has been said in some form already. I just really loved how, like, the ghost of the person who left their, I had a grandmother when I was really young who was a hoarder. So like there was, when she died, like it was like picking apart pieces of her personality. And I just loved how like the different pieces of, like I said, this has all been said, but like it resonated with me personally as well.
Well, what hasn't been said is you had a grandmother who was a hoarder. So that was new information.
That's true.
All of this stuff is mine. So I am picking up on what you guys are putting down. Those boxes in the, what was the inspo here? I mean, hello. Plus, but hi, babe. I don't know if I told you this, but my mom had a black mink, and like, Julia asked me, actually, it was Julia who, like, we couldn't like end it. And like, Julia was like, what's the thing? And I was like, I don't know. The mink, I guess. Because that would be, because like, we were like, what's the thing that like we're fighting over? And I thought about it. What would be the thing that I would care for? It's like this stupid mink that nobody wears.
Right. When my mother passed away, I said to my sister and my sister-in-law, I said, I literally don't want one thing. I do not want one thing, just because I really didn't. And second of all, I knew it would give them permission to take whatever they wanted, which they did. I mean, I just didn't want to be in that space. But the way you guys handled it, which was in a way that was helpful and harmonious and humor, and you were good humored with each other, was just, as I say, it was a good day. It was great. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, John.
Julia, this is the most, in my opinion, out of your own way and dropped in that I've seen you be, and it was just amazing. I know you're so smart and you make a plan and you go by the plan, but it was a gut check, and I feel that you should rewatch this and use this as kind of the gold standard for yourself moving forward, because in terms of taking what you do, which is so smart, but you come from a music background and all of that skill and all that technique, but applying that to like the close-up, wildly successful. It was really, really good for both of you, but specifically only Julia, because you and I have worked together for a couple of years now.
Thank you.
Anybody else before we sign off? Sorry for the confusion earlier. I was just, I got some stuff going on, so I was a little distracted early because of messages coming through. But great class. The work just continues to astound me. You guys are just doing such an interesting, explored, detailed, artistic job at this stuff. I really just am in awe of what you're doing. Any parting thoughts before we sign off? I will send a couple things. There's going to be a play reading Thursday night. I just saw John had sent me an email, so I'll send that out. I will send out instructions for next week, which will be a self-tape week. And it's going to be, as we did the last class session, everybody, all the men and all the women will have the same piece of copy so that we can take a look at that, which is always an interesting experiment. Anything else before we sign off? Is that you, Kels? Oh, okay. All right, you guys have a great week. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.